Well, you guys, today we are going to give you guys a full update on Miss Ellie Mae and let you guys know what is going on and how everything has been going.
Yeah. So some of you guys that don't know, Ellie Mae was our brand new goat.
Yes.
And we were so excited to get her. We were excited to have her be a part of the pack or the flock or the herd, whatever the right lingo is, and be able to utilize her for like a milker goat and also just as a companion to our other goats that we have.
Yes.
Well, we got her, and the very first day that we got her, we decided to integrate her with the other goats and with our dogs, because our dogs were already living as livestock guardian dogs with our goats.
Yep.
And the very first day that we got Ellie Mae, she jumped right in there. She was the boss of the whole yard. She was bucking sir. They were going at it, fighting for dominance. And I guess figuring out who the new leader is going to be.
Yep.
All of that is totally normal.
It looked like it was going really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we only had a really good bucking issue, like situation the first like hour or two. And then after that, they started calming down a lot. And by the first day, they weren't really like standoffish or like the back of their hair standing up, you know, towards each other or anything else like that. They started to get their dominance in there, you know, and set that boundary in those lines of like who's the top dog or who's the top chief, you know. And we were looking at it like, okay, this is working out really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And going on to day two, you know, day two was amazing. There wasn't anything going on with day two. Day two, it was very chill, relaxed. It wasn't nearly as close to like day one or even like the beginning, right? Day two was very, very chill. Everybody seemed very good and chill, relaxed, happy, you know, and bonding really well together from what we could see and what we could tell.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till day three that's when something happened with Ellie Mae.
So day three, we woke up in the morning and went outside and did all the animal chores like we normally do. And we had noticed that Ellie Mae was not really wanting to come out of the doghouse enclosure. She was just kind of laying around and, you know, all of the animals were laying around, but she was separating herself, and she was inside like the doghouse.
Yep.
And so when we first got Ellie Mae, we had a sneaking suspicion that she might be pregnant because of how big her teats were and how poofed out her sides were and stuff. And so Gary, noticing that Ellie Mae wasn't out in the yard with everybody and that she was inside the doghouse, went inside the doghouse area to check on her, and she was just kind of laying there. So he was like, okay, well, duly noted, maybe she's going into labor or something. I have no idea, but we're going to keep an extra eye on here.
Mm-hmm.
So that particular day we were working and we were cleaning out one of our storage tents and working with the kids and stuff, going back and forth, getting all that stuff done. And about in the middle of the day, Gary went back for some water, and also we were going to take a quick break, and we were moving some of the stuff into the basement area.
Yep.
And he went inside and he checked on Ellie Mae, and that's when he saw it.
Yep.
There was this big thing hanging out of her behind, and he was like, I don't know what this is. Mel, get over here, come check this out.
So I called Mel over, trying to get a second opinion to see what is going on. You know, this is a stressful moment. Don't know anything really what's going on, and yeah, it was not something that I was expecting to see.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty sight. And the thing that was very strange to us is the actions that all of the animals were taking. Yep. Everyone was just loafing around, laying down. And yep. There was no scuffle, no screams, no barking, which our dogs 100% would be barking, and there would be a ruckus of some sort if, you know, something was going down. And so it's one of those things where we didn't know what was happening. Is she having babies? Did she have a baby? Did she get hurt somehow? To make kind of a longer story short, we had taken Ellie Mae out of the doghouse. Well, Gary called her out of the doghouse, and she kind of just came out, and she was just walking around with it. And by the time that I got over there, I looked at it, and I'm like, I don't know if she's having babies or what, but immediately I called Tara, which with White Rock Homestead, who was the previous owner of Ellie Mae.
Oh.
And I start talking to her, and I'm like, I'm not sure what's going on. I get a closer look, and that's when I see that her insides were hanging out of her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm getting off the phone with you, and I'm taking her immediately right now into town, into the vet, to see what we can, like, what happened, can we do, like, you know. And so yeah, so I drive into town, I take her to the vet's office. Charlie, our vet, takes a really good look at her, and he cuts off the remainder that's outside of her. He stitches her all up, and he gives her a couple of shots. One was penicillin, another one was a pain medication, and he gave me some cream and some spray that I was to apply to it 2 times a day. And Charlie did tell me, hey Mel, the first 36 hours is going to be very critical. If she makes it past the first 36 hours, then it's going to be the next 10 days. And if she makes it past the next 10 days, then it's going to be the first month. And if she makes it past the first month, then we're pretty much in the clear. But the first 36 hours are critical. And then after that is going to be the first 10 days.
Yep.
So we did put out a video updating you guys after the first 36 hours, and things were looking up. Like, things were looking so good.
Great. She was literally eating, she was drinking, she was getting out more of the doghouse instead of like trying to lay around, you know.
Yeah, she was walking around the yard. She was using the restroom, number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Her personality seemed like it was peaking back up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Although I know that Tara told me, you know, she was a grain hound before,
Yeah.
and she did not want anything to do with any of the grain after the incident. She just wanted only the hay.
Yeah.
And like wild leaves and stuff that we would cut off the trees and like bring to her. But she was eating, and she was drinking, and she was walking around, going to the bathroom. So I was going out there a couple times every morning. I was going out there and I was giving her penicillin shots, and I would rub the cream on the wounds, and I would spray it with like the fly deterrent stuff, so that way, you know, things don't get in there. And it was actually looking really, really good, like really, really good.
It was starting to look like, wow, like I can see what's going on back there now.
Yeah, I can see it kind of like forming itself again. And it was scabbing up and doing all the healing that I thought it needed to.
No. So it was going really, really well. We were really happy, and we were just amazed on how well everything was going.
Yeah.
That first 4 days was really rough,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the next few days after that followed were still rough, because we had to go and take care of her and having to see that and do all that. And it was really rough when we weren't seeing the progress. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't seeing the healing take place of what it was. And it was like, dude, it's still, oh my goodness. And like the first couple of days. And then it was like, what, day 6, day 7? That's when it started scabbing, like what you're saying, and
I'd say it was
and
about
it was
day
like,
7.
Oh, okay, it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, and it was going really, really. It seemed like it was going really well. Like what we said, she was eating, she was drinking, she was roaming. You know, we'd let Cappy and Sir out of the backyard area and lock the gate and everything, but open up that pen area and let her walk the whole yard area, and she would get out and she would walk that whole area, eating everything and doing everything like that. And then, you know, day 10 comes around, the first, you know, the second wave of hold your breath, you know. It came.
And on that 10th day, like clockwork, she started getting really tired. again. Like her energy that had returned started leaving her again.
No.
And she started kind of laying around, although she wasn't laying inside the doghouse. She was laying outside in the yard. So we were like, okay, maybe she's just having a harder recovery, you know, and she's just taking a day.
I thought she was doing better by day 10.
Yeah.
Because she was literally laying out of the doghouse.
Yeah,
like where before she would come out, eat a little bit, drink a little bit, and go straight back into the doghouse. She was out like almost the whole day. Yeah. To where I was like, oh, okay. You're out and about today. You're moving along. It's day 10. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, we did the same stuff that we had been doing with the shots and the cleaning it and keeping a close eye on her. And she was separated, you know, so nothing could happen to her. And that 10th night, on the night of day 10, you know, we went to bed and everything, and we came out in the morning on day 11, and she had passed at night.
Yep. So it's very unfortunate. I'm still just like, man, you know, she was doing so good.
Yeah, and we still take full responsibility and feel super sorry that it happened. We only got to barely have her for 2 days before the incident happened. So it happened really, really quickly. And we still have we don't know for
exactly what happened.
For sure. We cannot tell for sure what happened. I know when it initially happened, I jumped the gun and I kind of like blamed my dog Luna just because of her breed. And then also in the past,
the situation of how it was and everything else like that. But like you said, the dogs were laying around. Yeah,
the dogs were laying around.
I looked at them that day. I looked at Ellie Mae that day.
Yeah.
She was fine.
Yeah.
I went back out there and I looked at her again after 6 hours. And she was not fine. Yeah. And we were outside the whole 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There was no ruckus. There was no anything crazy.
Now the doctor...
It makes me wonder if, you know, she snagged it somehow on something.
Possibly. The vet did say that there's a possibility that she had a prolapse, and that the prolapse could have been snagged on something, or the prolapse enticed the dogs to go after it, because it is not in our dogs what they normally, like, they have been living with the goats this whole time, the other two goats that we have.
The goats and the dogs have been great together.
Zero problems whatsoever. They don't even really play like how you would think, like how our dogs play together and they turn into one big little tornado. They don't even do that with the goats. So it just came out of the blue completely. And there are many factors of shoulda, coulda, woulda, what if, you know, and it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what we could have done different, but I have been able to sit and analyze and identify things that we could have done differently and how we will proceed forward.
Correct.
So at this point, our dogs are now down in like our big goat barn area with the electric fence that we had set aside. And Cappy and Sir, our two other goats, are up on the top tier. Now, we do plan for Luna, our husky, the one that got blamed for everything. We plan for her to be more integrated back up as like our family dog with our older senior dogs, and having her be kind of like up on the top tier area. We do plan for Cappy and Sir to go back down to the bottom with Layla and Louie in the electric fence area, and for Layla and Louie to continue doing a good job being livestock guardian dogs for them. It is their breed to do that. They're Anatolian Shepherds and Great Pyrenees mixes. And again, they've never shown any kind of signs of anything like that. Now, the main reason, I'll just reiterate one more time, the main reason why I always go back to where I think, if anything, it was Luna, is because Luna is a husky. It is in her breed. Although she's never been antagonistic towards any of the other dogs or the goats or anything else like that. She does chase and get possum. She would definitely go after a chicken. And in the past, she played with some cats a little roughly, and that happened. So I don't want to put it aside, like, and say like, oh, you know, zero possibility, because there is that possibility, but I feel like it wasn't intentional. So
we have a better plan going forward.
Yes, so going forward, we're gonna keep the livestock guardian dogs down with the livestock area. We haven't moved and integrated anybody or done anything yet. As of right now today, the 3 dogs are down in the electric fence area and the goats are up on the top tier.
Yeah.
In the next few days though, we'd like to start moving them around.
We might be moving and grooving on a lot of other things down there.
Yes,
so,
yes. But in the future, we do still want to get some more goats to add to our herd or flocking or whatever it is. We do want to get some more. And so what we think we're going to do from this moment forward is we will have a separate area that is in the same area to where the new animals can be seeing each other, smelling each other, checking each other out, and kind of the first few hours or first few days of them being together, they can calm down, they can get to know each other, and then we'll actually give them access to each other. If there was
have more control over the situation.
Yeah.
And not assume that it's going to be okay. That was a lot of our downfall.
That was our downfall, and unfortunately our mistake.
Because of how big Ellie Mae was.
We thought that
and how everything is. We were like, okay, well, she should be fine. She should be good.
And that's also why, like, we had them all. That's one of the reasons why we had them all up at the top
close
tier.
So we could keep an eye on them closer.
And also another thing too is at that time, Anthony and Rox had like a family emergency. They were like going across country. And so we had their dogs, we were house sitting, and they were down in the electric fence area. And so there was a lot of animals moving around on the property. There was a lot going on that week. And it just seemed like it was just one thing after another after another. And that's how life goes sometimes, unfortunately.
We could, shoulda, coulda, woulda all day long. I take the responsibility 100% fold. And it will, it has taught us a good lesson that it's not going to happen again.
And hopefully it teaches y'all a lesson as well, like learn from our mistakes, I guess.
No matter how big or anything else. Take precautions and take it one day at a time and one step at a time.
Yeah.
Not think that it's going to be all right, you know?
So in the future, we're going to keep Luna separated away from, you know, the livestock animals. Not because she has shown any signs of anything, but it's just because 3's a crowd and there's 3 dogs down there, you know, and Luna, we'd like to have her be up with the older dogs, kind of sprucing some life into our old seniors.
No.
And Louie and Layla can be down there and do what they need to do as livestock guardians, which are very helpful out here because we have bear on the property and we have bobcat and coyotes, mountain lions. The neighbor David says that there's like and Mike, they said that there's like a panther roaming around.
That's not the first time I've heard it. I've heard it from our neighbors. I've heard it from all sorts of locals.
Yeah.
And where they are and if they're seeing it and everything else, that to me it tells me that there's more than one.
Oh yeah, and they're around. Yeah, so we definitely want to have the dogs down there. They're very beneficial to scaring off other bigger animals. At the very least, they'll bark and their scent will ward other larger animals away.
Correct.
So
and alert us.
Alert us, exactly. So we definitely want to keep them down there with them.
Yep.
But I would just say in the future, when we get bigger livestock animals and when we get different animals, we're going to, I guess, segregate them off in the same area, but to where they can't really be in contact with the other animals until, you know, some sort of length of time goes on, and then we monitor and watch and see, you know. But it could have been 1,000 different things. There's no for sure that it was the dogs. It could have been a medical issue that was exaggerated by the dogs. It could have just been a medical issue that got torn somehow on maybe part of the fence, or there's really no 100%.
I have no idea what happened. All I know is there was no scuffle.
Yeah, there was no scuffle.
And it's you know.
So it's a mystery that we can't solve.
I don't want to put blame, you know, on an animal if it wasn't them to blame.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But at the same time, we also don't want to take chances. Correct. If there is a slight possibility. And because there is even the slightest possibility, and it really does affect us. I know that, you know, it's just an animal and this and that, but like it really does affect us, our mentality. Like, it's depressing, guys. It's sad. And we never wanted that to happen. And it makes you feel like a failure. You know, it makes you like, because we failed Ellie Mae. Like, we failed her. That's how we feel. You know, that's how we feel. Whether it is, it isn't, there's no saying for sure, you know, one way or another what happened. But that's still how we feel. Yep. And in order to go on and make sure that we hopefully don't feel like that again, we're going to try to make the precautions better. And we're going to try to do better. And we aren't going to hold on to it forever. We're not going to beat ourselves up over it forever. We are going to push forward and keep on going, you know, because it is life on a homestead. There is so many blessings, but there are downs. And if you've never lived in this lifestyle, if you've only ever watched it, I read the comment section. Yep. Like, it happens to so many people. And I'm going to encourage you people that are watching to leave your stories so that way other people can hear about it. So that way everybody can be educated on situations and stuff, you know, and know that every situation is different, obviously. But there are things that you just keep in mind of, you know what I mean? Yep. So that all being said, we didn't necessarily want to make a whole entire video about this, but we have still been getting a lot of questions, comments, emails, concerns, and we have told you from the get-go that we were always going to be upfront and honest with you guys regarding the situation, because it's a very traumatic and also strange situation, you know, and we like to be clairvoyant with you guys. No. We like to let you guys know what's going on and everything. We didn't want to leave y'all in the dark about it. I know that a lot of people were really worried about it, so we decided that we would put out this video just to give you guys an update to the people that are caring and concerned. And if you don't care, well, then we'll see you on the next video. Yes. But we definitely didn't want to leave y'all hanging, and we wanted to, I guess, kind of honor Ellie Mae. Even though we had her a very short amount of time, she was a very, very beautiful goat. She was. And she had a wonderful personality, and I just wish that I would have been able to have more time with her. But the amount of time that we did get to share together, I was able to bond with her. I was able to get her to like me, and I was able to care for her in the best way that I know how. I cared for her wounds. I gave her shots. I gave her lots of love and affection, and I know in my heart that we did everything we possibly could do to help her to live and to prolong her life and hopefully have her recover. We did literally everything that we could do. Oh. And it's just one of those things, unfortunately, where it was not enough. No. But our heart is with Ellie Mae, and we feel extremely bad about it. But we learned, and it definitely, I'm hoping it will never happen again, because the way that we're going to go about it is going to be a lot more stringent. So yeah, but it does, you know, death is a part of life, and especially when living on a homestead and you have so many different animals, it is normal and common. If you have, like, I'm just using this as an example, you know, people will have a backyard flock of chickens and one will just drop for an unbeknownst reason. You might be like our situation, I'm just going to talk about like the rabbits, right? Like, you might have a litter of kits and the mama doesn't take care of them or something, right? So then that happens, or the mama eats them, or, you know, stuff like that. That kind of stuff happens. Unfortunately, it is a part of living on a homestead and raising animals, like ranching, any of that kind of stuff. And you definitely have to be tough to be able to live this lifestyle on many different aspects. You got to be physically tough, but you got to be able to be mentally and emotionally tough.
Yep. And
this is just another opportunity for Gary and I to gain in strength in certain areas of our lives. And we're not going to miss this opportunity for growth.
Correct.
So that's our update today, friends. I'm sorry it's not really a chipper, happy one. It sucks, but we want to honor Miss Ellie Mae's life, and thank you guys so much for being a part of our journey and being with us. We appreciate you guys. I really don't know what else to say. So until the next one, friends, we love y'all, and we hope you have a good one.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, you guys.
Later.